Hello, students. Today we are going to learn about a very important topic, India's population. Now, when we talk about population, we often think of just one very large number. But today, we will look beyond that. We are going to understand the people who make up this population, the children, the adults, the elderly, and also look at the policies that help shape our nation's future.
So let's start with a simple question. Is a country's population just one big number? It's a common way to think about it, isn't it? But really, there's so much more to the story. The fascinating part is understanding the structure of the population, the different groups of people that make up that big number, and why that matters for a country like ours.
Okay, so here's what we will cover today. First, we'll go beyond just the numbers. Then, we'll understand the difference between the working population and the dependent population. After that, a very important topic, India's future, which is its youth. And finally, we'll touch upon the government's policies for its people.
Right. Let's begin with our first section, Beyond the Numbers. Here, we will try to understand something called age composition.
So, what is age structure? Well, it's quite simple, really. It's the number of people in different age groups within a country. By studying this, we can learn a lot about what a country needs now and what its future might look like.
Generally, the population is divided into three main groups. First, we have the children, which includes everyone below 15 years of age. Then comes the working age group, which is from 15 to 59 years. And finally, we have the aged, or the elderly, who are above 59 years. It's important to remember these three groups.
Now, knowing these three groups, it leads to a very important concept: who supports whom? This brings us to our second section, the working and the dependent.
This idea is measured using something called the dependency ratio. Now, the name might sound a little technical, but the idea is very straightforward. It's simply the ratio of the dependent population, that is, the children and the aged, to the working age population. In other words, it tells us how many people are being supported by those who are economically active.
Let's take a very simple example to understand this. Imagine there are 100 people in total. Out of these, 60 people are in the working age group. That means the remaining 40 people, who are children and the elderly, are dependent on these 60 working people for their needs. So, if this dependent number is high, it can be a challenge for a country.
So you see, age structure is very important. And this brings us to our third section, where we focus on a very special and crucial group, India's youth, the adolescent population.
Just think about this number, 1/5. 1/5 of the total population of India is made up of adolescents. This is a very significant portion, and it represents a huge potential for our nation's future.
And this is why they are called the most important resource for the future. The progress of our country in the coming years will depend entirely on how we nurture this young generation. So, to be clear, who do we consider as adolescents? Well, adolescents are generally grouped in the age bracket of 10 to 19 years. This is a crucial time in a person's life for growth and development. But this important group also faces some significant challenges. For example, their nutritional requirements are higher than those of a normal child or adult. Unfortunately, many adolescents in India do not get an adequate diet. A major problem arising from this, especially among girls, is anemia. And often, these issues do not get enough attention in our development planning.
So what is the solution to these problems? A very important part of the solution is awareness. And this awareness can be spread through literacy and education. When adolescents are educated, they become aware of their needs and can make better choices for their health and their future.
This brings us to our fourth and final section for today. To address these population-related issues, the government has put certain policies and initiatives in place. Let's look at those. The government's efforts started many years ago. In 1952, a comprehensive family planning program was initiated. This program evolved over time, and in the year 2000, the government launched the National Population Policy, also known as the NPP.
The National Population Policy of 2000 had several important goals. Let's look at a few of them. It aimed to provide free and compulsory school education for children up to 14 years of age. It focused on reducing the infant mortality rate. Another key goal was achieving universal immunization of all children against vaccine-preventable diseases. And very importantly, it aimed to promote delayed marriage for girls.
Now, let's pause and think for a moment. We just saw that the policy focuses on educating girls and promoting delayed marriage. How do you think that educating a girl can change the future of a country?
So, to conclude our lesson today, remember this. A nation's strength is not just in its numbers. It is built on the health, the well-being, and the potential of its people, especially its youth. And all of this needs to be supported by thoughtful national policies. That is how we build a strong nation.